Hey everybody, welcome to Mr. Rogers Afternoon Clay School. Today we're gonna do some glazing, and I have 3 buckets of glaze laid out here. This one here is classic clear, so that is a clear glaze. You can see through it like glass. This here is jewelry, and it's a transparent glaze. You can sort of see through it a little bit, and it is translucent, I'll say. And it is light, it's like a light blue, a little bit of turquoise kind of action going on. And this glaze over here on the end, right there, is the mystery glaze. And the mystery glaze is, whenever a glaze gets real low and we can't use it anymore, we just dump it in there. And that changes over time. And lately it's been this really pretty, earthy, olive-ish green that's transparent, translucent. So I'm gonna use the mystery glaze on this white cup that a student made and wasn't able to glaze. So I will glaze it for her. And the mystery glaze is gonna look really nice on this white clay. So I've prepared this cup in a previous video. I've cleaned it, I've waxed it. Now I'm ready to just prepare my glaze and then dip it. So the first thing I have to do is mix the glaze up. So I have a bucket of water here, and this drill, this Porter cable. I bought this one because it was the cheapest one. And it is attached today to this paddle that will mix the glaze for me. And if you've never used a power drill before, there's 2 buttons here. Well, it's just 1 button, but it slides through the other side. So if I push this in, it's set to tighten. And if I push it back out, it's set to loosen. And you can actually lock it in the middle, and that is kind of like the safety. So it won't spin at all. Can't pull the trigger now. So it mixes the glaze best actually when it's set to loosen. So set that to loosen, and the drill is going to spin counterclockwise. All right, and I put this drill over that. Bring this over, push this here, bring this here, put the drill in there, and spin. Now, the trigger is pressure sensitive, so let me show you that. If I press the trigger in just a little bit, it'll spin slowly. And if I gun it, it will, if I pull the trigger in all the way, it'll gun it and make it go really fast. So you want to just go easy with the trigger, because you don't want it to splatter everywhere. You don't want the glaze to get into your eye. All right, so this is well mixed, I believe, but it's a little thick, thicker than I want it. So as a beginner glazer, if you feel as though there might be something amiss with the glaze, call over a glaze tech or the teacher and have the teacher take a look at it. Don't try to take care of it yourself if you're not sure what you're doing. So what I'm going to do is add just a little bit of water to this to thin it out. I want my glaze to be about the same consistency as a heavy cream and the viscosity of this glaze is it's a little thick. So this is just a clean pitcher of water. Pour some water in there. And I move the drill around to break up all the pieces. And it looks a lot better now. Just adding that half a cup of water really helped it. All right, so this paddle now is contaminated with the mystery glaze. And if I went to go mix a different glaze up with this, I would contaminate the other glaze. So I can't just go and stick this paddle into the classic clear here. I'll contaminate the clear and it won't be clear anymore. So I have to clean this. So this blue bucket over here, this is the rinse bucket, and it's just got clean water in it. And you give it a couple spins in the clean water, and it gets the mystery glaze off of the paddle. All right, so this is now ready for dipping. And this cup here, this is gonna be pretty easy to glaze. I'm just gonna hold it by the rim like that. I'm gonna dip it in, and I'm gonna glaze almost the entire thing except about where I'm holding. And I'm gonna use this as a scoop to kind of scoop the glaze out, and then I'm gonna tip it out and pour the glaze back into the bucket. All right, here I go. I try not to get the glaze on my skin. There's some oxides in the glaze that, don't play nice together with the human body sometimes. So if it gets on your skin, you want to wash your hands. You don't want it to linger on your skin. All right. So that's how the resist works. That's the wax. And I'm gonna take a sponge, and that will come off very, very easily. That is going to be very difficult to get off. If I had to get this off, it would not wipe off that simple. It's actually very difficult to get glaze off of a pot. You have to take it to the sink and really scrub it. All right, so I gotta wait till that dries, and then I'm gonna dip that part that I missed, the part that I'm holding. So I'll put that down. And here is a slab box that I cleaned up and prepped. This is all ready to go. So I'll do this kind of the same way. I will hold it by the corner like that, and I'm gonna dip this in everywhere except where I'm holding, and then let all the glaze run out. And see my wax resist worked very well here. That will just wipe right off, no problem. And now I'm gonna be very careful. When this dries, I'll do a better job, but I'll get the majority off of it now while the wax is still wet, or while the glaze is still wet, rather. When the glaze dries, it can be difficult to remove. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna set that down, and then I will glaze this part here when this side dries. Put that down, and then here is the lid to that little box. And I'll do the same thing. Hold it by the corner. Dip that in. That looks pretty good. Wipe away wherever it's stuck a little bit to the resist. And I will fine tune this cleaning when the glaze dries. All right, that looks pretty good. Set that down. Now, I want to make sure my hands are pretty dry before I try to pick up this cup. If my hands have any moisture on them, then I could pull the glaze off. So I'll dry my hand a bit better. And here's the cup right here. And now I can hold it gently by the part that I glazed. I don't want to squeeze too hard. Just hold it gently. And then I'm going to dip this in, and just to dip this part that I missed here. And this is one coat of glaze. One coat of the mystery glaze. 2 coats looks the best. 1 coat doesn't look that great. 3 coats, that's too much. You don't want to do 3 coats. So I'll let that dry. And then I will dip it again. So I'll set that down. Now I can pick the lid of my box up and dip that little corner that I missed. Wipe away anywhere it's stuck to the resist. Looks pretty good. Now this has 1 coat of mystery on it. Put that down. All right, now I got the box part. And I'm gonna dip this part that I missed. Get that. That looks pretty good. Wipe off where it is sticking to the resist. Clean that sponge a little better. There we go, that looks good. Wipe this off. And that looks pretty clean. Now this has 1 coat of mystery on it as well. So now I'm ready for the second coat on all 3 of these, because that first coat dries pretty fast. So I'm gonna dip this one real quick. Now I don't have to dip this into the mystery glaze for the second coat. I could dip it into any of the glazes for a different color. But I wanted to do 2 coats of mystery on this one. So now I'm just gonna hold it by the bottom. I'm gonna turn it upside down, and I'm only going to glaze it up to about here. And when I dip it into the glaze is not going to go into the cup because of the air pocket that's trapped. I will let that drip. All right, now that has 2 coats of mystery glaze on it. Let that drip off. And this area here has only 1 coat of mystery, where this area has 2. So that's a technique I like to do in case the glaze gets runny. There's not so much glaze down here, and it will run off as it heats up and stick to my kiln. So 1 coat down here and 2 coats up here. That looks pretty good. Now this is ready for the kiln, so I'm going to set this on the carts here in our studio where things go when they're ready for the kiln. All right, I'm going to do just about the same thing for this one. I'm going to hold it by the bottom like that and just dip it straight down. Kind of the same technique. Let that drip. Give it a little shake. Let all that drip off. And again, I'm giving this 2 coats of mystery. That second coat didn't have to be mystery glaze. It could have been any of the glazes. And as you layer the different glazes, you get different colors. And or finishes. Sometimes your finish will change too. Finishes. If it's shiny or matte or satin. All right, I'll clean that up. That looks pretty good. That one's ready for the kiln. And this one here, I'm just gonna dip the top part a little bit and give it 2 coats of mystery glaze. All right, I'll set that to dry. That looks pretty good. We've got a little piece of debris there. Once that dries, I'll pick that out of there. Looks like a little piece of bisque. Maybe not, I'm not sure what it is. But it doesn't belong and it's going away. All right, that is glazing. Pretty easy. Just have to try to be as neat and as careful as you can to get a smooth finish as possible. All right, I'm gonna put this down, let it dry. And that is glazing 101 there. Thanks for watching.